County 911, what is the address of emergency?
Hey, it's Academy Sports in Gainesville off of Dawsonville Highway. I have an individual in one of our cars near our handicap spot. He is not waking up. He's hunched over the other individual with him. She's like shaking him, moving him. His mouth is open. Nothing's happening. No response.
Check and see if he is breathing and ask her what kind of drugs did he take.
Yeah, I'm on the phone with them. Do you know if he's taken anything, drank anything, ate anything, any medication?
Tell her I'm not the police. I don't care what he took, but I need to know what he took so I can help him.
Is it recent? It's just a Klonopin, and it's a frequent medication.
Okay. Is he breathing?
Yes.
Okay.
Slightly.
Brian!
I don't have Narcan, do you?
Brian!
Still can't get... You have Narcan 45?
I'll get one for Cohen.
59, 620.
It's in my trunk in my bag.
Coming up to the counter. Dang it. In here. Here, take over. All right. Come on, I got you.
Ready?
Yeah, go.
Hold on. Ready?
Yeah, go. What's his name? Brian. Come on, Brian, wake up. Come on, Brian. Come on, Brian. Wake up, Brian. Come on, Brian. All right, stop CPR for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what fentanyl looks like to a first responder. A police officer, a paramedic, an EMT, every day around this community is responding to calls like the one you just witnessed. The subject took a pill, didn't know what it was, and is on the very verge of death. Luckily, this person survived. The next one may or may not. So you may ask, what is fentanyl and what is this craze? Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that's made overseas. It does have legal uses. There are legal uses in the OR for anesthesia. There is legal use for cancer patients, pain. But it's a very small, finite amount of fentanyl that's used under a doctor's care. So if you want to know what a deadly amount is, think of taking some grains of sand, sprinkling them on a penny. 3 or 4 glandulars that cover up Abraham Lincoln's head, that's enough fentanyl to kill 5 or 6 people. It has to be used under a doctor's care for a medical purpose. But the problem we have in our society today is that fentanyl is being clandestinely made overseas, across the borders, and put into pills, candy, sprinkled in marijuana, laced in other illicit drugs like heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine. If you name the drug, it probably has fentanyl in it. It gives a euphoric high, and so someone that suffers from substance abuse disorder, they may have a tolerance to fentanyl, whereas someone that's only tried marijuana, smokes one marijuana joint, immediately deadly. We've seen fentanyl come from overseas in China, coming from the southern border of Mexico, brought in droves. What we're seeing on the street is not powdered fentanyl as it's made. We're seeing it pressed into candies. Just this past year in the United States on Halloween, kids were given candy that had laced fentanyl in it. It's everywhere, and the death rate is astronomical. The main way we're seeing fentanyl is in counterfeit pills. So someone that may be used to taking Percocet or oxycodone or any of these other known narcotics, overseas in some basement somewhere, they have a pill press and they're crushing up the pharmaceutical grade pills and then just mixing fentanyl in it. So you may get one pill that you think is oxycodone and it only have oxycodone in it, but the next pill has tons of fentanyl because there's no mathematical way that this is being distributed into the press. We're also seeing it crushed up in powder and being snorted, We're seeing it mixed with heroin and being injected. Finding people that are passed out, overdosed, on the verge of death, or either dead, needles hanging out of their arm. We find out they've had a heroin addiction for a long time. The very first time they tried fentanyl, it was deadly. Since 2019, we've seen the death rate in Georgia of fentanyl more than quadruple. The death rate continues to be on the rise. Just here in our own community, we see every year the death rate almost double from overdoses and deaths directly related to fentanyl. Fentanyl is now the #1 killer of men and women from ages 14 to 45. Used to, this was automobile accidents. Prior to that, it was cancer. Today, over 50,000 people a year die from fentanyl. Some as young as 4 and 5 years old from accidentally ingesting pills or other drugs that their parents have. We're also seeing teenagers using vape cartridges, not knowing that inside that vape cartridge is liquid fentanyl. Adolescents in 2019 in Georgia, we had 4 known deaths related to fentanyl. In 2021, 36. Last year, that number almost doubled into the 60s. Ages 21 and over, we went from 387 deaths in 2019 in the state of Georgia to 1,255 in 2021. I mentioned a while ago over 50,000 people a year nationwide. We're seeing 150 overdose deaths a day related to fentanyl. Gainesville, Georgia, just inside our city limits. In 2021, we had 83 overdoses. Last year, we had 96 overdoses, about a third of those fatal. Again, how are we seeing it? We're seeing it in counterfeit pills. One person may buy off the street 4 oxycodone, M30s as they call them, and it's not really oxycodone. Can you tell the difference? If you see a counterfeit pill and the real pill, do you know the difference? The deal is if you didn't get it from a pharmacy under a doctor's prescription, then you don't want it. Assume it has fentanyl in it. What are the effects we're seeing on our community? Other than too many people dying, too many people overdosing, it's having an economic effect. People being out of work. It's having an effect and a drain on our hospital system, on our mental health services. It's leading to homelessness, thefts, burglaries, all those things related to the drug trade is really being exponentially modified by fentanyl. There's only one chance that we have to save you. It's a very small window from the overdose, and we can use a drug called Narcan. All the police officers carry it, all your paramedics have it. It is a nasal spray. Spray it in the nose. It's readily available, and then we encourage the use because any life is worth saving. So if you have someone that you know that is addicted to drugs, then you need Narcan. Lastly, I'll leave with this. In my career of 23 years, never have I seen a drug so deadly taking us out nationwide. It doesn't matter what the age is, the socioeconomic class, the rich, the poor, the famous, the unknown, men, women, black, white, it doesn't matter. Fentanyl is deadly, it's taken our society, and we must do something about it. If you or a loved one or someone you know suffers from substance abuse disorder, especially opioids, I encourage you, I beg you to get help. Reach out to those resources that can help you beat this. We have to prosecute the suppliers and help those suffering.